Hi guys, welcome to another Block Spotlight. Today we're going to take a look at the second of the logistics pipes in this small series that I'm going to do, which will hopefully turn into a full-blown tutorial. This one is the provider pipe. Now, reasons we might need a provider pipe is if we, as we've got over here, we have our stuff sorted into chests, and now we want to get that stuff out of those chests. This pipe is what's going to help us do that. Now, if we open up the inventory for it, we can see I already have lime wool in there. By default, this is how it's set. It will provide whatever items you put in there, and they are ghost items, so you can set which items you would like to show in there. Now, right click is to add and left click is to take away. Now you can include everything, which is to leave it empty and the box on include. You can exclude everything by clicking that toggle switch there, and that will exclude everything, or it will exclude everything. It will exclude just lime wool, or you can include just lime wool. So you have 9 slots which you can configure for different items that you want to include or exclude as part of your provider pipe. And the reasons you might want to do that is if you're providing from something that you're also supplying. So if you were providing cobble to a chest, you wanted to keep a certain amount of cobble in the chest, and then you also wanted to provide that from that chest, but you want to provide something else, you would have to exclude the cobble, otherwise that chest is going to provide to itself, and you'd have a bit of a loop going on, but we'll cover that in a bit, or in another video. This switch here will basically toggle the different methods of providing. So by normal, what it will do is it will provide everything. It won't leave anything behind. Anything that's in that chest will get provided, assuming that this filter will allow it. Now you can hit that once and it will say leave the first stack. So that means that for certain blocks that require a first stack, or the first stack, I'm thinking specifically an energy condenser in this case, it won't pull that first stack, and it will leave it there. And that will work as well with some of the other modules and pipes from logistics pipes as well, where you need to leave something in the inventory in order to sort into it. Then you can also leave the last stack, so just depends on whereabouts you want to leave your stuff, or have your stuff set up. And then you can leave the first and the last stack. You could leave one item per stack, so if you had a setup of a chest where you wanted a specific ratio of items, you could just put one item on each slot in the chest, and then with this provider set like this, it's not going to change that setup for you, and then back to normal. So there's quite a few different options that it will do for you. Now the recipe for this, we're basically looking at a basic logistics pipe and a glowstone dust on top. So as long as you've got your basic logistics pipes, this is quite an easy modification, although it's going to require a trip to the nether. The basic logistics pipes again are made like this, so it's extremely easy to update one of those to make it a provider pipe. Now I've got a little setup going here, and we've basically got some provider pipes on the back, and they've not been configured at all. Now these are set up as they were from my last demonstration. and while I've got this connected to just round here to another basic pipe onto a chest here which is empty. Now with the default configuration, if I were to use a remote orderer, which is, we'll show you this guy briefly, it's a couple of diamond gears and some glass on top. This is my preferred choice of requesting things on the network. There is a request pipe as well, which is a lot cheaper to make, and that's another pipe that I'll be covering at some point. And I'll cover how it works compared to this remote orderer as well. But this remote orderer will work off a standard logistics pipe. So as you can see, we can request anything that is in those chests because they're all part of the same network, and they've all got a provider pipe on there, which means they're all available. So if we wanted to request that wooden transport pipe out of the default chest, we just request it and it's going to go into the chest next to it. Now if this chest wasn't here and we requested something, it's basically going to shoot out the end for us, which we'll have to pick it up off the floor. Now that can also be useful as well, depending on what you're trying to do with the items. Now if we were to change this setup over here now, which is the one with all the yellow in, so if we were to take this and we were to say exclude yellow, now when we come over here to request, we only have 2 yellow wool, and that's because we have 1 yellow wool in there and 1 yellow wool in there. It's ignoring the fact that all this yellow wool is in here because this provider pipe's saying, well, it might be there, but I'm not allowed to provide it for you, so I'm not going to show it up on your interface. Now the other way we could do it is we could include the yellow wool, which means the lime, magenta and light blue wool is going to be ignored. So when we come over here, all we've got available to us is the yellow wool. And that's basically how this provider pipe works. Now we could set these. Now if you say leave 1 item per stack, now these items here, we've got 2 lime, 2 magenta and 3 light blue. Because it's got to leave 1 item per stack, it's not going to show that 1 item in your request inventory. You have got it, but it's not showing it because it needs to keep it in there. It's not allowed to distribute that last item. So that is something to bear in mind as well, that the whole network is quite intelligent. I mean, if you were to have, and this would be a prime example, if we were to take, let's get rid of that one for a minute. Now we have 65 yellow wool in there, and if we request over here, we can see we've got 65 yellow wool. Now if we had this set to leave the first stack and then have a look, it's only going to let us request 1. That's because the first stack here has 64 items in it. Now if you're running low on resources for whatever reason, and you have your pipes set to leave the first stack, or in fact leave the last stack, or any kind of similar setup, you may find that you actually have more resources than you think you've got. You just need to go and look in your chests and make sure that you have the items available, or just to see if what items you have available, more to the point, because that will not show the items in the request screen. And the request screen itself, I will go over when I look at the request pipe, which will be fairly soon. So yeah, don't worry about this too much now. It will all be covered in time. But that's the provider pipe. It does what it says on the tin. It provides stuff for you. and it will basically service what I'm going to say is active requests on the network. Now, that's to say that if we were to connect these together, it's not going to provide to itself automatically, because these basic logistics pipes aren't actually requesting anything over the network. They're just saying, well, if it's there, I'll take it. There are pipes that will actively request things across the network, and provider pipes are set up to deal with exactly that. So there you have it. If you have any comments, suggestions, things I've missed, please let me know below. Make sure you hit the follow button on my Twitch and on my Twitter. Subscribe here and all the other fun stuff. You don't want to miss out on this series. A lot of people have been asking for some help with logistics pipes, and this is hopefully going to help you out. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.